Now, the Professional Footballers Association has threatened the prospect of legal action against the Premier League if clubs vote for a de facto salary cap next week. Clubs will vote on whether to replace PSR with new rules, which include anchoring. If this is voted in, costs would be limited to 5 times the amount the bottom club receives from the Premier League. This season, for example, would be £550 million. I'm delighted to say Kaveh's still with me to talk more on this, because you can kind of put the nuts and bolts on this a little bit more as well. And how serious is this threat from the PFA?
Well, we could be heading into a showdown between the players and the clubs. Because make no mistake, the Premier League are going to change their financial regulations. At the moment, we have the profitability and sustainability rules. Now, they've been very controversial. We've seen clubs like Everton and Nottingham Forest be deducted points. Now, the Premier League are going to be moving away from those PSR rules, and they're going to have new rules, which are basically going to be called squad cost ratio rules. They're very similar to the rules that UEFA have. So 9 of the 20 clubs in the Premier League play in European competition, so they're already governed by UEFA's squad cost ratio rules. And what the Premier League's squad cost ratio rules are going to mean is that clubs will only be able to spend a maximum of 85% of their revenue on player costs. So transfer fees spread out over the term of the contract, players' wages, agents' fees, maximum 85% of your revenue you can spend on that. So that is squad cost ratio. But where it gets controversial is something called anchoring. Because if you just have squad cost ratio on its own, guess what? The big clubs will be able to spend much more than the other clubs. So for instance, Manchester City's turnover is £700 million. 85% of that, £600 million. They could spend on players. Crystal Palace's turnover is £200 million. 85% of that is just £170 million. So you'd have a situation where Manchester City could spend £600 million on players, Crystal Palace £170 million. Now that could potentially threaten the competitive balance of the league. So you have something called anchoring. Now anchoring, Premier League's version of it, is no club would be able to spend more than 5 times on players what the bottom club receives in prize money, broadcast and commercial revenue. Now that is around £550 million. So the big clubs would not be able to spend more than £550 million on player costs. And the big clubs, for instance, like Manchester United and Manchester City, feel that is unfair. They feel it would make it difficult for them to compete on an equal basis with Real Madrid or Barcelona or PSG or Bayern Munich. So that is why this issue of anchoring is so controversial, and we're going to get a vote on it a week tomorrow at this very, very important Premier League shareholders meeting in central London.
And the funny thing is, it's the captains actually that go to vote on it as well, don't they? They get...
No.
Oh,
The captains don't get a vote. No.
I thought they went and talked about this.
No.
Interesting.
So this is a Premier League shareholders. They are the ones who get a vote. The people who own the club.
Right. Okay.
And for anything new to be introduced, 14 out of the 20 clubs are going to have to vote for it. But the reason, I mean, you make a good point about the captains. The reason the captains are involved in this is because they're all members,
yes,
of course, of the Professional Footballers Association. And the Professional Footballers Association is the trade body that represents professional footballers. And obviously, for them, they don't want to have any kind of situation where there is any form of cap on what a professional footballer can earn. And they have said, if you go down this road and you have anchoring, we think that is a form of salary cap, because you're saying to clubs, you can only spend a maximum of £550 million on players. That is basically a soft salary cap. That is not allowed. You can't put an arbitrary cap on how much players can earn. We will challenge that legally. We will take you to court.
Right.
And the only winners in this are going to be the lawyers. And guess what? We've been down this road before. 4 years ago, the EFL tried to introduce a salary cap in League One and League Two, and they were prevented from doing that because of a legal challenge by the PFA. And I think what's going to happen next week is that all the Premier League captains are going to have a meeting. I imagine it will be a virtual meeting because they're all very, very busy, where they will discuss this issue. Now, the big question is, can these captains actually put any pressure on the club owners? I'm not so sure. You know, I know captains in the game, obviously, they are very, very important players. They wear the armband. They're adored and idolised by millions and millions of fans. But are they really so strong that they can pick up the phone, call the owner and say, look, can we have a little chat about this anchoring issue because we're not in favour of it at all? I don't think the players have the power to do that.